Alright folks, listen up, cause I'm hearing the same chatter you are down at the range about ammo getting scarce. But here's the straight dope from a guy who's seen a few of these rodeos. It ain't comin', it's already knockin' at the door. And this time, it ain't just a bunch of keyboard commandos panic buy-in cause of some clickbait headline. Nah, this is a slow burn, a real crisis simmerin' around a little ol' metal most folks ain't never heard of, antimony. That stuff's the secret sauce, makes your lead hard, gets your primers poppin', and keeps your bullets from gunkin' up your barrel. Price on it? Gone through the roof. We're talkin' a 300% jump. And get this, Uncle Sam ain't got a single ounce of it mined or refined on our soil. Let that sink in, zero domestic supply. So what's gonna happen when every single primer you depend on needs this metal we can't dig up or cook up ourselves? And what happens when the North Atlantic Treaty Organization slaps down orders for $100 billion worth of ammo and gets to cut in line? In this here breakdown, we're gonna look at 5 legendary rifle calibers that are already feelin' this pinch and getting squeezed right off the shelves. Now this ain't like the 2020 mess, where shelves got wiped clean overnight, cause everyone lost their minds. This current situation, she's a whole different beast, way more systemic. With China basically tunnin' off the spigot for their antimony exports, us regular Joes on the civilian market are now going head-to-head with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and other foreign armies just to get the raw materials for even your basic plinkin' rounds. And yeah, while talkin' tough on China gets some folks riled up in a good way, tariffs have turned out to be a real double-edged bayonet. They might look good in a trade war, but they sure ain't helpin' keep ammo on the shelves at your local gun store. The upshot is a quiet, steady strangulation of civilian supply lines. Your trusty hunting cartridges, like the 30-06 Springfield, the 270 Winchester, the 30-30 Winchester, the 243 Winchester, and the mighty 45-70 Government, they ain't vanished completely, yet. But some specific stock-keeping units are already ghosts, and others? They've disappeared from backorder lists like a fart in the wind. You ain't gonna see the full train wreck on store shelves right away, cause prices look stable only cause dealers are selling off what they bought at last year's cheaper prices. But the new stuff comin' in? It's thinner on the ground, costs more greenbacks, and you got fewer load options to pick from. Us reloaders? We're already feelin' that vice tighten. Large rifle primers are dryin' up faster than a mud puddle in August, and the cost of brass is creepin' up every single month. Don't you wait for a repeat of 2020 to take this serious. By the time this crisis is plain as day to everyone, ammo ain't just gonna be expensive, it's gonna be gone, period. The 30-06 Springfield. Among us serious trigger pullers, the 30-06 Springfield is often the first one to go poof when the market gets tight. It wasn't that long ago, I could mosey into my local sporting goods emporium and grab those bulk boxes of 150 grain soft points, 60 rounds for under $50, working out to about 82 cents a pop. These days, you're doing good to find a lonely box of Winchester, and it's gonna set you back $62, if it's even on the shelf. So what's puttin' the squeeze on it? It's a cocktail of headaches from overseas and right here at home. Antimony, which is downright critical for making hard lead alloys, has pretty much stopped flowing in from China. Them Section 232 tariffs are sending brass prices sky high. And the ammo plants here in the States? They're running flat out trying to fill massive contracts from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, cranking out 7.62 by 51mm NATO and 6.5 Creedmoor loads round the clock. Them old-school workhorses like the 30-06 Springfield? They don't even get a sniff at the production line until those modern military calibers are taken care of. Reloaders, like yours truly, are feelin' this pinch the worst. That Lake City surplus M2 brass? Gone like yesterday's news. If you're after new cases, Starlene's a skin 42 cents for each one, and that's with a 3-month waiting list. Primers? Might as well be made of pure gold. Most of your mom-and-pop gun shops are limiting folks to 100 primers a day, and they're charging $8 a tray. That's double what we paid back in 2022. But here's the real kicker, fellas. It ain't just the price, it's the damn uncertainty. You got no earthly idea when the next batch is gonna land. Dealers all across the heartland are already saying their next shipment ain't gonna show up till after elk season is wrapped up. That's a big problem, 'cause the 30-06 is still the backbone of American bolt-action hunting rifles. Think your Savage 110, your Remington 700, your Winchester Model 70, rifles passed down from your grandpappy that still need full-power hunting loads to get the job done. And don't even get me started on that newfangled non-lead stuff. If you're hunting in a lead-free zone, those fancy copper polymer-tipped hunting rounds? They'll lighten your wallet by nearly $2.70 a round, $54 a box, and they fly off the shelves faster than free beer at a barbecue. I knew trouble was brewing way back in March, when a big national chain's weekly flyer didn't have a single box of 30-06 listed. Just a little rain check notice. That's when it hits the casual hunters. They can't just swing by and grab a couple boxes after payday anymore. And that, my friends, is when the real panic buy-in kicks in. My advice? Build your stockpile now. Aim for 100 rounds of your go-to hunting load and another 200 for punch-in paper at the range. Used to be an easy purchase. Now? You'll be shelling out over $300 and spending a week on the horn chasing it all down. The 270 Winchester. There was a time, not too long ago, when you could bet your bottom dollar that 270 Winchester would be sitting on the shelf, no matter what the political winds were blowing. Well, that era's over, boys. Since it shares the same parent case as the legendary 30-06 Springfield, any hiccup that messes with one sends ripples straight into the other, but with the 270, the impact usually hits even harder. One distributor I know down in the Southwest told me they're only getting one shipment of 270 for every 4 crates of 6.5 Creedmoor. And the prices? They've followed that ugly trend. A box of 130 grain soft points, which used to set you back about $34, now rings up at $46. That's a jump of over 35%. But the sticker shock ain't even the worst part. The variety is drying up like a desert creek. Federal has officially 86th their budget-friendly PowerShock line in 150 grain, and Nosler has throttled back production of their tried-and-true partition bullets. That leaves us hunters reaching for the high-end stuff like the AccuBond, $69 for a box of 20. What's behind this squeeze? It's manufacturing triage, plain and simple. When the costs for copper, zinc, and lead go through the stratosphere, the guys running the machines ain't gonna be wasting time swapping out dies all day long. They double down on what sells the fastest and brings in the most profit. Think 6.5 precision rifle cartridge, or that newer 6.8 Western. Them long-action classics like the 270 Winchester just don't make the cut. Meanwhile, the folks making projectiles are just reacting to what the market wants. New rifle buyers are flocking to these modern calibers, so bullet production for .277 diameter is dropping. Less projectile supply means fewer load-ins overall, which pushes the 270 deeper into the endangered species category. So if you're one of those fellas who swears by the 270, and I know a whole lot of us still do, now's the time to make your move. That sweet spot of $2 per round is already in the rearview mirror. And with the next wave of price hikes coming, we're looking at boxes climbing past the $50 mark. Once a dependable, go-to choice, the 270 is fast becoming a rare bird. The 30-30 Winchester. Among us seasoned lever-action fanatics, the 30-30 Winchester has always been the undisputed king of the woods. Just a couple of years back, you could find Remington's classic core-locked for a cool $21 per box. Fast forward to today, you're staring at shelves barer than a baby's bottom and those lovely hand-scrawled 1 box per customer signs. Hornady's fancy polymer-tipped loads? They now command over $42, double what they cost before the whole pandemic mess. And even at that price, they disappear before most folks have finished their morning cup of joe. What's causing this particular squeeze? Well, the recent explosion in straight-wall cartridge hunting laws has sent lever gun sales through the roof. Manufacturers like Marlin, Henry, and Winchester are sitting on 6-month back orders. And for every new rifle that hits the market, ammo demand just climbs higher. But unlike the modern sportin' rifle crowd shooting 5.56 or 7.62 by 39mm steel case imports, us lever gun shooters rely almost entirely on good old brass-cased, American-made ammunition. That makes the 30-30 uniquely vulnerable to copper tariffs and raw material inflation. Add into the chaos is the seasonal nature of its production. Most factories only tool up to produce 30-30 loads in late spring. If there's any kind of hiccup, like a shipment of primers showing up late, that whole production window gets missed. At that point, The line gets swapped over to Phil Government or North Atlantic Treaty Organization orders, and the 3030 doesn't get another run until the next year. And don't even think about handloading to save your bacon. Once fired brass has vanished from the second-hand market like a magic trick, and brand new cases are running 44 cents each, if you can even find them. Bottom line? If the 3030 is your go-to medicine in the woods, get ahead of the curve. Buy at least 3 boxes now, because 12 months from today, a single 20-round box could easily set you back $70, if you can even find it, that is. The 243 Winchester. On the surface, the 243 Winchester looks like a pretty safe bet. It's been a staple for deer and varmint hunters alike for decades, a real jack of all trades. But dig a little deeper, and you'll find yourself walking through a minefield. Federal's 100-grain non-lead off-Aaron hasn't been on shelves since January, and here's the kicker. Those clean burn-in primers use a little something called gallium, and China, who's our biggest supplier, has slashed their gallium exports in half. With component makers forced to ration what they got, slower-moving calibers like the 243 get shoved to the back of the line. The round's dual personality is part of the problem too. Come springtime, coyote hunters are scooping up bulk orders of 55-grain polymer-tipped VMAX loads like they're going out of style, leaving nothing but dust for the deer hunters come fall. By October, most shops have only got lightweight bullets left, good for prairie dogs, but not exactly ideal for a whitetail buck. Another gut punch? This cartridge uses large rifle primers, specifically the ones hardened with antimony to handle higher pressures. And with Chinese exports of antimony dropping off a cliff, primer manufacturers have had to prioritize who gets what. According to the latest earnings call from Vista Outdoor, traditional cartridges like the 243 Winchester won't see normal availability again until at least the first quarter of 2026. So what's this mean for you and me? Wait too long and you'll be stuck paying top dollar at some fancy boutique shop, if there's anything left on the pegs at all. What used to be a $60 purchase for 3 boxes is now well north of 100 smackers. Come September, you could be staring at empty hooks and kicking yourself for not stocking up when you had the chance. The 4570 Government. What used to be a niche cartridge mostly for us history buffs and guys who like old iron has absolutely exploded in popularity, thanks to all these new suppressor-ready lever guns and modern hotter loadings. But that same popularity is putting the 4570 Government in a real bind. This big bore thumper ain't cheap to make. Each 405-grain projectile contains almost a full ounce of lead alloy and a healthy dose of that antimony stuff to cut down on barrel fouling. And with antimony prices tripling past $31,000 per metric ton, just the material for the bullet is adding over 21 cents to every single round, and that's before you even factor in brass, powder, or labor. You see it at the checkout counter. Hornady's 325-grain of a Revolution load that used to retail at $48.99 is now going for $63.50. Buffalo Boar's heavy-hitting loads built for bear defense? You're looking north of $85 a box, if you can even track him down. The primer situation doesn't help things either. The 4570 uses large rifle magnum primers, the very same ones being snapped up by military contracts for stuff like the 338 Norma Magnum and 300 Winchester Magnum sniper ammunition. For those of us who rely on the 4570 for backcountry hunting or talking down large game, this ain't just some minor inconvenience, it's a looming crisis. A 100-round reserve that cost you $210 last year will now run you almost $400, and even that's assuming you can find it locally. I've talked to fellas out in the Rockies who've had to drive over 100 miles just to pay $80 for a single box. Take this as a serious warning, my friends. If you plan to hunt with a 4570 this season, or even next, now is the time to build up a 2-year reserve and make sure you store it correctly. If supply chains get hit again or those export controls tighten up any further, your trusted lever gun might end up being little more than an expensive club. So if you're slinging lead with any of these classics, the 30-06 Springfield, the 270 Winchester, the 3030 Winchester, the 243 Winchester, or the 4570 Government, don't wait for another headline to tell you what your own eyes are seeing. Lock in what you need right now, while you still got a snowball's chance in hell of finding it. Tell us in the comments down below, which of these calibers are you shooting most, and what are you seeing on the shelves at your local gun emporium? Are your favorite hunting rounds still holding strong, or are they already missing in action? If this intel helped you get a leg up on the situation, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe for more straight shooting ammunition intelligence, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next heads up. Stay sharp, and stay stocked, my friends.